So let's do an example with formulas, specific formulas. So we have f of x equals square root of x minus 1, and g of x is the rational expression x minus 2 over x minus 3. And I'm going to find the domain of f first. So that's, you just take the radicand, so the stuff inside the square root, and you set it greater than or equal to 0. So x minus 1 is greater than or equal to 0, which gives you that x is greater than or equal to 1. And this is how you write it in interval notation. You have open bracket, 1 comma infinity, close paren. Paren being short for parentheses, of course. The domain of g is just x is not equal to 3. So it's all real numbers except for 3. And that's just because we can't divide by 0. So if you set x minus 3, this x minus 3 here, equal to 0 or not equal to 0, and solve, you get x not equal to 3. And that in interval notation looks like this. Right? It's just all real numbers except you've cut out 3 by putting parentheses in here and putting a union between. So if you graph these, putting these together, you have to use both restrictions. That's what it means to take the intersection of these. You use both restrictions. So you have, I just put an open dot at 3 to signify that x can't equal 3, right? And then this here, x is greater than or equal to 1. So I have a solid dot at 1 because it can't equal 1. And then greater than that, but I have to skip the 3 because x can't be 3. Right, so that's all there is to that. So I would strongly recommend writing this. I would write this exactly the way I wrote this. Each of these steps are important. You would write each of these out, and including this number line, because it just makes it easy, because then you can look at this and you can see the intervals. If you wanted to, you could even write square bracket, paren, paren, and then write the intervals out. Because that's the answer is going to be an interval notation for this. It's the easiest way to write the answer. So this is what I get. The domain is open bracket 1 comma 3 close paren union paren open paren 3 comma infinity close paren equals, and that's going to be the domain of f plus g. It's also going to be the domain of f minus g, and it's also going to be the domain of f times g. So you do 1, you find the domain of 1, and you get all 3. So that's nice. Well, 3 of the 4. And then you have to worry about f divided by g. So for f divided by g, we also have to make sure that g of x is not equal to 0, because you can't divide by 0. G of x is x minus 2 over x minus 3. So we have x minus 2 over x minus 3 not equal to 0. Now a fraction is not equal to 0 when its numerator is not equal to 0. So that means x minus 2 is not equal to 0, so x is not equal to 2. Okay, so we have to take that out of the domain that I had for the previous 3. So we just have to omit one more point. Right, so if I draw the number line, I have an open dot at 2 as well. And so that ray to the right skips over 2 and 3. So now notice I have 3 intervals, from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, and from 3 to infinity. And I have to make sure I get the parenthesis and the square bracket part right. So my domain of f over g is going to be open square bracket 1 comma 2 close paren union open paren 2 comma 3 close paren union open paren 3 comma infinity close paren. It takes a while to say that all. Okay, so that's what it's going to be. And now I'm just writing out what the different functions are going to be. So the function f plus g of x is going to be the square root of x minus 1 plus the rational expression x minus 2 over x minus 3. F minus g of x is going to be the same thing, only a minus in between the two expressions. So square root of x minus 1 minus x minus 2 over x minus 3. The product, you just take the product of the two. This is not that hard, right? So it's x minus 2 times square root of x minus 1 over x minus 3. And I need to make sure that I put parentheses around the binomial x minus 2 because I want to multiply the square root of x minus 1 times that whole binomial, not just by the minus 2. And then f divided by g of x, I have to take the reciprocal of g of x and multiply it by the square root of x minus 2. So I get, in parentheses, x minus 3 times square root of x minus 1 over x minus 2. And there I wrote out that I need to have x not equal to 3 because you have to be able to do g and f. And the domain of g excludes 3. But that's just included in this where I wrote the domain down here for f over g. See, x is not equal to 3. I didn't write x not equal to 2 here because you can tell from looking at it, x not equal to 2. You can tell from the implied domain that x is not equal to 2 and x is greater than or equal to 1. So that's the only reason I wrote this. You won't be required to do this. You would be required to write this out and to write this out. Okay, and of course, to do these three as well with their domains, which are all the same. They're this one.